the door, please.
For what?
I just want to make sure that everything's okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know, I just figured I'd check on something.
I don't know what you want, man. Get out of my house.
Open this fucking door. Where's your daughter, man? Where's your daughter, man?
What are you talking about?
Where's your daughter? Who's in there with you?
Bro, if you don't
Open this
leave...
fucking door. Open this door, I'm breaking it fucking down. You understand me?
Leave my house. You don't...
Are you okay? Is everyone in this house okay?
What? Everyone's okay. What do you want? Can you leave my house, please?
Can you open the door, please?
You have nothing to do with my house. Can you leave my house?
You know what my name is?
I don't know who you are. You don't belong in this neighborhood. That's for sure.
This is my neighborhood, though.
Yeah, I live there. I don't know you.
My name is Harrie Dresden, motherfucker. Open the door. This is my neighborhood. Open the fucking door. No. Or I will fucking end you. Do you understand me?
Alright, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well, who taught us His truth. I came across this video and I was debating on whether doing a video on it because, you know, I'm sure everybody has seen it, but I figured, you know, what a better example to be able to show through a different happening how Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, the self-proclaimed white race operates, because everybody has seen that video. It's all over social media, and it is impossible to defend what that man is doing. You know, supposedly his name is Harrie Dresden, and what does he do? He shows up to somebody's house. First he's checking on something, then he's demanding that he opens the door. Then he begins to start to raise questions about what's going on. Is everybody okay in there? Is your daughter okay? And then when he doesn't get his way, when he gets asked to leave, he resorts to violence. And the full video is he actually breaks down the door. He gets inside the house, man. And again, there is no defense for anybody doing that. Everybody on social media, you know, after the jokes are all said and done, everybody will agree that that dude needs to go to jail. He's a fucking nut job. He needs to be put away somewhere where he can't hurt anybody. And that's exactly what the Hebrew Israelites, starting with the elders and our apostles on down, have been telling you know, the world since this truth came in, because that's exactly how Esau Edom operates, man. So let's go ahead and get into some scriptures, and you know, we can just prove the point. So Habakkuk 2:5, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither doeth neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hail, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathers unto him all nations, and heaps unto him all people. And that's, I mean, isn't that a basic summary of what we just saw? He's transgressing by wine, and again, that's how America operates. That's how they got into Venezuela. That's how they got into Saudi Arabia. That's how they got into all these other countries in which they've installed puppet governments, man. He goes, first he spreads his lie throughout, his Israeli-owned media, where we don't know if they got weapons of mass destruction. We don't know if they're shutting off the incubators, to kill babies. That was a big lie for the Iraqi war. What was the other one? For the Vietnam War? Communism is going to come, from 10,000 miles. These Asians are going to get into a wooden canoe and sail here in 6 months, and they're going to bring communism. Like, it's again, that's that wine. That's that philosophy, man. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And I mean, it was, it's kind of funny, when the guy was saying, this is my home, but no, this is my town, something like that, right? But I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. That's how America operates, man. And I mean, the sad reality is, it is. Though, this is not only his town, this is his world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And, goes to the point that America, the wicked, is in control of this world. We're just guests. Right now, at this point, we are just guests. Matter of fact, Sirach, I believe the 10th chapter goes into it. Talks about the Most High sets up a ruler. In time he will set up one that is profitable. I'm pretty sure that's in Sirach, the 10th chapter, man. But right now, this is a man. This is Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's servant. This is the man whom he's put to control the globe at this point, man. Just as he put the Babylonians to control that region over there, just as he, put the Grecians, the Assyrians, the Medo-Persians, and the ancient Roman Empire. They were all servants, man. Daniel 4:17 goes into that, It talks about how the Most High sets over the earth whom he will, specifically the basis of man. That's a rough paraphrase. But, I mean, people should be able to see, man. I mean, if you can't see it, and I'm not saying that, this is the best video ever to, this video completely proves, Esau Edom, because there's hundreds of other videos probably better than this one. I'm sure there are better than this one. Just like you got, what's that, that other off-camp a couple of weeks back, they did this video talking about, we got a 2-hour documentary. No, I think it said 4-hour. It was a 4-hour documentary proving that the other heathen nations can be saved. Like, no. We don't need 4 hours. You only need 3 or 4 scriptures, man. Everything else is just, what's the word that I'm looking for? Confirmation, man. There you go. Everything else is just confirmation, man. And oh yeah, I guess we'll get this one. Salakia, I'm driving, I'm trying to, work has been busy, so I gotta do my videos like this because, well, Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And I want to bring this up because after he begins to knock on the door, then he begins to demand that he open up the door. And again, going back to the way that America operates, that's exactly how these other that's exactly why these other nations also have to take a part in the judgment, because when America decides to go invade another country, you always have these other nations who back America, whether they allow them to use their military bases, whether they send their soldiers, whatever it may be, man. And for that reason, all these nations have to be punished, man. That's why the scripture says the nations have drunken of her wine. Why? Because they partook in that philosophy. Look at how many nations are partaking in what's going on in Iran. And so because you've drank of that cup has to pass through you also. That's in Lamentations, the 4th chapter, and Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. The entire world has had to suffer at the wrath of this devil. Now, this devil is going to suffer the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Proverbs 11:21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, man. And that's the hope. Our hope, which is the same hope that our forefathers had. Acts 1 verse 6, the very first question that the apostles asked Yahweh Shai when he rose from the dead was, will thou now restore the kingdom? What is kingdom? Kingdom is rulership, man. That's what kingdom is. Kingdom is having slaves. We're in America's kingdom. What's America's kingdom look like? They have puppet governments, as I mentioned earlier. They have people that do all of their work for them, right? This is kingdom, man. And so our forefathers were asking Yahweh, hey, are you going to restore the kingdom back unto us now? Because that's the prophecy, man. Daniel 7:7 goes into that. Yahweh Shai's kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And, it shall not be left to any other people, man, other than the Israelites, so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics. All right? So the hope is that the righteous would be delivered. And what is deliverance? What does deliverance look like? Well, what did deliverance look like when America told you that they were going to Iraq to save the Iraqis? Deliverance was bloodshed. What did deliverance look like for the Israelites during the Passover when we left ancient Egypt? Deliverance was bloody, man. Okay, and so that same deliverance is coming again, man. Scripture goes into that. Numbers 33 or 35. It's either 33 and 35 or 35 and 33. It talks about blood defiling the land, and whoever sheds the blood, his blood must be shed, and that's the only way that this land can be cleansed. This man has had a campaign of terror on the entire globe, man. And so his blood's got to be shed, man. Thus say the scriptures. Because that's this was prophesied to have happened, and that's all that these self-proclaimed whites have done. First Maccabees 1:9 goes into it. And after his death, whose death? This is the death of Alexander. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. Who is these four? It's talking about. These are the four generals that took that part of the kingdom that Alexander had conquered: Ptolemy, Lacenaeus, Cassander, and Seleucus. Okay, so he said, so they put crown upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth. Ever since these Edomites got into power, starting with the Grecian Empire, going on to the ancient Roman Empire, going through the Spaniards, going through the French, going through the British, going through what would become America, which are all prophesied, by the way, in Daniel, the 7th chapter, in Revelations, the 17th chapter. Ever since these people stepped on the scene, it says evils were multiplied on the earth, man. So many monstrosities, man. And there are many more monstrosities that we aren't even aware of, man. Because this devil's not going to tell you every evil thing he's done. No, he's only going to allow you to see, to find what you can. Because, let's be honest, nobody wants to be exposed, you know what I mean? Even as us, as individuals, we don't want to be, exposed for things we've done in the past. We understand mercy and grace, but that mercy and grace, that only applies for us. these people have mercy, don't have any mercy and grace. The book of Hebrews goes into that. It says that Esau could not find mercy. That's a rough paraphrase, man. But there's hope, because remember, we started off with the Habakkuk 2:5. It says, who enlarges his desire as hell, and he is as death. That's his nickname. According to the scriptures, the biblical nickname for these Edomites is hell and death. And that's important to remember. Matter of fact, in Revelation 20:14, because this is the deliverance. Remember that, remember that we mentioned deliverance being bloody, that deliverance, being filled, with death, which, Amos, the 5th chapter, goes into that. Amos 5:18 talks about the day of Yahweh Shai is a dark day. Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, goes into it. Talks about Yahweh Shai, having his robes drenched in blood. Whose blood is that? That's the blood of the firstborn son. And who was the firstborn? Esau came out first, man. Revelation 20:14, and death and hell. Again, these are the biblical nicknames of Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Which this scripture also proves that, hell isn't a real place, because how can you toss hell into death? How can you toss hell into fire? Isn't hell, fire in itself? I mean, a negative plus a negative, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I think the point has been made. There was another precept, Revelation 6:4. Matter of fact, we'll just get it. Revelation 6:4, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Again, there has been no peace on the earth since these Edomites stepped on the scene, man. And that they should kill one another, and that was given unto them a great sword. And again, Esau Edom, starting with Basra, the capital of Edom, which is, this place that we're living in, they have the biggest sword. They've got the biggest military, the own sitting president will tell you that. We have weapons that nobody has ever seen before. They're so amazing. I gotta tell you, the way he it's amazing that people can't see through this con, man. I mean, who talks like that? Imagine you go to McDonald's and that dude's talking to you like, oh, this fucking double cheeseburger is the best double cheeseburger ever. Nobody has ever made one better. Like, you would be like, man, this dude's full of shit. But these Edomites are eating this shit up, man. And that's prophecy too, because Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai in the scripture says he's put the spirit of slumber on them. These people got a big surprise coming. Not only does the hammer of the earth have punishment coming, but those also that trusted in their power, man. And that includes 2/3 of our people, man. So until the next one, shalom.